Did you ever wonder why Billy Craig and MGI merged? This is their story.
Tommy, the managing director for MGI, Tommy's grandfather lived on Dome Street in Montego Bay, next door to my grandfather, right? Tommy's grandfather was responsible for customs and excise, and my grandfather ran the wharf. And then these two gentlemen lived next door to each other. And I'd have to say that's where the relationship began. Then I think it's important to note Tommy Smith's history with Billy Craig. Billy Craig originally was an insurance agent for British Caribbean Insurance Company and then Dial. And Tommy worked for both of them. And he was once seconded to work at Billy Craig for a year. So he knew the organization, the portfolio, the way we did business. I dare say that when Tommy and Errol decided to start MGI, they built on some of the practices that they learned from Billy Craig and the relationship management. As you know, we flirted with MGI for quite a lot of time, many years, while we were looking at Ian and I were looking at different opportunities to either acquire or merge with another entity. So in 2020, we finally signed off, completed an agreement, and the two businesses merged. When I first took over Billy Craig, or tried to take over Billy Craig, Ian was the then managing director. And he taught me insurance. Very patiently, I might add. And to this day, I still go back to Ian Miller on any technical question I may have. There's certain technical things, insurance-wise, that I just would not see without his guidance. And he has consistently provided that advice and technical support. Tommy really saw structure. He obviously had been involved in putting together organizations before, and he was able to look at different people's values, the resources they brought to the table. And we discussed it at length, and we agreed that Ian, with his strong technical ability, should be Chief Technical Director and be responsible for compliance. Kim Daly, with her extensive background in broking, working for an insurance company, being involved in claims, would be responsible for the commercial portfolio and also oversee the claims team. Pete Walker had a history of working for an insurance company for some 20 years, but his history there emanated from systems and IT. So we agreed that he would be responsible for operations and business development. And I have to say that system has worked very well for us. We also agreed that Marilyn Wong would continue to be responsible for HR. MGI didn't have a specific HR department, so we put everything HR onto the existing Billy Craig system. And then we had an existing IT department, and we put everything IT related onto the then Billy Craig IT system. And Billy Craig had an accounting department, and we put everything accounting-wise onto the existing Billy Craig system. One significant change we made was to utilize MGI's processing methodology, which included putting significantly more data on the system than we had been utilizing the system for. That was a huge challenge, and unfortunately we didn't realize what a huge challenge it was going to be when we set out or when we embarked on this journey. The consequence of that was that it set us back significantly in our data processing, in our billing, in our transactions, in our ability to get to our clients on time with renewals and with invoices. I'm happy to say though that today we have overcome that setback, and definitively you can see that the systems are working for us, and the team is buying into those systems now because it is working for us. You know, in hindsight, when we look back, I never imagined that culture would have been such a challenge. And many people have told me that when you're merging two organizations, you always have to focus on culture. And we did in fact focus on it, but we just never grasped the full implications in my mind. And I think to this day, we still have some of the repercussions of that. What I would say is that had we put more of a focus on that, then all of that would be behind us today. But it's a work in progress. We're going to continue to work on it. We're continuing to work on how team members get along, how we relate, and what the reporting structure is, and what the methodology of reporting is. So I have no doubt that we'll be successful in merging the two cultures. And we have in fact come a long way. We just have a long way to go. Without a doubt, relationships were tested during this merger. We're getting to our clients late, and we had a lot of clients complaining. I'm happy to say that I think we got through it. And for the most part, those client relationships are there. In fact, we haven't lost a significant client in that process. There were also tests on the relationships internally because we're putting together a new system. Not everybody agreed with it, and we had to stand behind the new methodology and push it through, even when our own faith in it was tested. You know, sometimes you just have to grit down and go for it, and I'm happy to say that we did, because now we're actually reaping those benefits. We at Billy Craig had reached a certain stage where we had continued to grow, and we're trying to figure out what was the next step to continue growing. MGI was a much smaller broking firm with a very good quality portfolio. So it projected the perfect opportunity for us to expand our portfolio. We got huge technical skills and resources as a result, right? We got the skill set of, you know, aside from our existing skill sets of Marilyn Wong, Ian Miller, and Pete Walker, we got Thomas Smith, Kim Daly, Karen Buchanan, and Jacinth Brown. Right? It was a significant step forward. We now have a fully fledged survey department. We now have IT persons in every office. We have the resources to go forward and develop our software, our own software, even further than it has ever gone before. So I'm happy to say that the resources now give us the ability to scale up and make another leap forward. I'd like to take this opportunity just to thank all of our insurance partners who stood by us over this trying period in our history. The insurance companies locally who stood by us and supported us, the insurance brokers internationally who stood by us, and their markets both in London, Miami, continental Europe. We really appreciate that support. But mostly, I'd like to thank the clients who stood by us during this period. Right? And we really appreciate it, and thank you very much for staying with us.